Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, happy Easter. It's the Easter long weekend this weekend. I'm not doing anything terribly special for it. It just feels like another week and weekend. So I'm going to be probably doing some dyeing here after I finish recording because it's another beautiful day. So I will be able to get all of my yarn hung outside to dry. So I hope you have a lovely Easter, whatever your plans are. First, an update on the eerie noise from last week. I'd explained that it was going to be going every hour on the day that I recorded last time, and it did. And by the end of the day, oh my gosh, I had such a headache. It felt like there wasn't that much time in between each of the broadcasts. And all of the animals kind of went a little bit crazy beforehand and stayed a little bit crazy afterwards. So it just felt like it was a constant noise. So that was not a pleasant day. Then it did play again on the Saturday evening and the Sunday evening, which was actually much nicer. It was at sunset, so I think the acoustics of the day had kind of changed a little bit, and they'd sort of honed in how they were presenting the sounds as well. And it was just the once, so that wasn't quite so bad. So that's all done with now, and they've packed everything up. It's been a fairly classic autumnal kind of week this week, although probably a little bit hotter than you would expect. And I think today is supposed to get to about 30, so our last little hurrah of hot weather. But the mornings have been really cool and misty or foggy, and then clearing quite quickly. The sun has sort of burnt through and gone to really beautiful blue sky days. So it's been just a really lovely week. We are seeing the signs of winter though. The grass is growing and getting quite green. I have had to mow out here the shed area and also the backyard. It's just growing so quickly because of the moisture and the sun all combining. And I've been tentative to get on the ride-on mower. I've done it once before while I was being supervised, and it's not something that I've been all that comfortable with, but I thought I'm not using the push mower again to do these large areas because it is absolutely exhausting, and you have to not have the catcher on the back because there's just so much grass coming through, so you end up with stuff flying. You know, and I wear goggles and earmuffs and all that kind of thing, but you end up getting stones thrown up and it's quite dangerous. So I jumped on the ride-on, had another quick lesson on how to use it, and I'm feeling much better about it now. I probably still need a little bit of practice in terms of making sure that I actually cover all of the ground, because the blades are a little bit uneven, so one side cuts lower than the other, so you kind of have to do a bit of a double up. But it was a much more pleasant experience than using the push mower, and the area outside the shed now looks really lovely. It's one of those things that you kind of don't want to do the job, but once you do it, it's really pleasing to see the results, and it makes such a big difference. Another sign of winter coming is that I've started to see some little fungus and mushrooms growing around. We've had these little white puffballs and a couple of mushrooms. So I think we might have a good mushroom season if we can get out in the paddocks and find them before the cows crush them all. I've also added some more plants to the garden around the shed. My mum is a real avid gardener, and she loves to take cuttings of things and experiment with different plants. So she'd taken a whole lot of cuttings and she'd had them growing at her place, and she brought them up to plant up here. So I was in a supervisory role. I told her where I'd like things planted, and she popped them in the ground for me. Got some lavenders and some geranium and a couple of ground cover kind of things that are going to sort of creep down over the embankment, and a couple of larger shrub kind of plants that are going to go along the fence line. So hopefully they all can take and enjoy the space here at the farm, And once they are established, then we can add some more and just continue to sort of grow and work out how the garden over here is going to work. It's getting a bit of a cottagey feel, which I really like. Some natives and some non-natives. I mean, obviously growing vegetables is also not native as well. So just getting a good combination of all of those things that will continue to work well here. It's a very exposed area. It gets bright sun all day, and then over winter it's going to get exposed to frost as well. So it has to cope with everything. And I had a cool visitor sit outside the shed this week. I was working sitting on the couch, and a kookaburra came and sat on the post just outside the door, and it sat there for quite a while, really enjoying the sun, I think, and looking for probably lizards, I think, because there are quite a few I see out there. So it sat there for a little while, and it was really lovely to just have that sort of different kind of nature come quite close to the shed. This week, business-wise, I have been doing a lot of website work. Certainly not glamorous, not terribly creative, but a really important part of making sure that I can showcase all of the yarns that I dye properly so that it is easy to purchase them. So what I've done is I've changed things up a little bit. I've created a dyed to order section, and I've listed it by each of my yarn bases. And then once you choose a yarn base, you can then choose from any of my repeatable colorways, the number of skeins you want, and it will be dyed to order. Then if you're just looking for current stock, you can just go to the 4-ply, 8-ply or lace sections and find everything that's currently dyed up and ready to ship. So I'm hoping that that's going to be easier to sort of navigate and to actually find the colors and see what's available, but also mean that at any time you can get any color that I currently have in my repeatable color range dyed to order. I'll put the links below to the shop sections so that you can easily find them, and I'd love to hear your feedback if there's something that you think is missing, so that I can help to improve the buying experience. I've also created a set listing for the Caledania cow, which is an Amber O'Brien pattern that will be released on the 30th of April as part of her Caledania shawl mystery knit along that she's doing. So it is sort of an accompanying cow which has a very similar pattern, and it will be released once it gets to the clues of the shawl pattern that go along with the cow. So I've put together a listing which has my tendril 4-ply yarn. I think that is going to be perfect for a cow. It's very drapey and soft, but warm at the same time, really light to wear. And all of the colors that I currently have available, I think work really well together. They're quite pastel-y, all of them, but they do contrast really well with each other. So I think you can probably play around and find a lot of different combinations that would work really well for a 2-color cow. And speaking of the Caledania cow, I am one of the test knitters for it. So I have chosen my colors and I'm starting to work on the test knit. So I can't show you any of my knitting on it just yet, but so I have some sort of secret knitting on the side, which means that some of my other stuff may not get as much work. But these are the colors that I've chosen. So this is apricot and this is orchids deck the treetops. And I think that they go really beautifully together. This has got some purple and pink in it. The green is the main color, and this is just a beautiful light orange apricot-y kind of color. So I'm sort of playing around at the moment. I think that this will be the main color and this will be the contrast, but I might swatch it the other way and see what it looks like, and then I can get started on actually test knitting. I've made some really good progress on my Radiate pullover. You can see the rib coming together there and how great that green is going, spiraling through and poking out with the brown. I'm almost up to adding the extra length at the back and then splitting for the sleeves. Once that happens, it will be just all knitting with the brown, not the contrast. But I am gonna maybe think about putting some green on the sleeves and the bottom of the sweater. It's not in the pattern, but quite a lot of people have done it. I've looked at some of the project pages, and I think that might be a nice addition, especially to use more of this green, which I think is coming out really lovely with the brown. That's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.